Perception is everything. Let me give you an analogy. Two guys can walk into the gym. The first, an amateur, the other, a professional. The following day, after sets and rigorous training, the amateur guy wakes up with sores, his body swollen. He goes online, taking painkillers, bemoaning the situation, crying his eyes out. Without the consciousness, that's the natural process of things. That thought pattern leads to the bemoaning of the day. The bemoaning of the day leads to less action. Less action means less result, because unfortunately, action leads to results. Result determines the quality of your life. Conversely, the professional gets up excited. He clearly understands he tore down his muscles. As a consequence, it will build to become bigger. The healing process in and of itself is the rebuilding of the muscles. He's excited. This is proof of progress. The same situation, but the perception determine the ultimate quality of their life. The same events can happen to two people. One gets rich, the other remains in the same place. In fact, the other remains distraught. The other person uses that circumstance as evidence he can't make progress. Majority of you are familiar with the story of this YouTube channel, of how I created 490 videos with little to no engagement. By when I mean little, I mean little. I would do my research, post a video, and you know how many views I accumulate? Zero. Imagine doing your research, thinking of new perspective, not scripting it because you have an intelligent mind. And after ranting and all the effort you put in presenting this content, you get 0 views. Hilariously, I thought this was some kind of spiritual problem. I blamed the devil, and every single failure shattered me. Until I rephrase the situation and this circumstance. Wait a minute, the fact that I'm failing means that there's motion. The fact that you're stuck in traffic means you're on the road. Delay cannot happen without goals. I'm already better than 80% of the people, I said to myself. Rephrasing things is one of the key elixirs to success. I didn't bemoan the situation. I didn't say why me, or why is this happening to me, or I've tried my best, throwing the towel, which is what most of you people want. Majority do not want success. Majority only try for the purpose of trying. Majority of you try so that you can have a backlog of evidence of why you are a failure. Oh, I tried this business, it didn't materialize. At least I tried. My friend, importunity is a language that the world understands. You do not come to the door of the world and speak English. Even the Bible says it, that up unto the time of John, that the kingdom suffers violence, and only the violent will take it by force. You have to be violent and aggressive when it comes to your goals. You do not stand and speak English and wait and hope for things to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you leave this chair here, unless an external force higher compels it, it will remain here for the rest of his life. Your chair can be like this destiny, staying here, and unless you change, unless you bring a force that is higher than that position, you will inevitably remain in that position. Don't wait for things to change. You change. Winners don't wait for things to happen. You make things happen. That is a victor's mentality. I refuse. I'd rather die failing than live the life of the average man, which is wake up in the morning. In fact, let's analyze the trajectory of the average man. You wake up in the morning, you go to school, you get a job. After a few years later, you attain 18 and society calls you an adult. Sometimes you begin a clueless journey towards life and destiny. Few years later, you're done with school after partying and wasting your 20s. You get a job, you get married. If you're lucky to have good children, kudos. If you're not, they would join in giving you some kind of terminal disease. Years later, you gossip, retire, struggle, arguing, and die. That is a terrible way to live. I refuse to waste my years of consciousness experiencing that kind of reality. You see this with most people. In fact, a huge percentile of mortals. You get up in the morning, you scroll Instagram, you scroll social media, go to your job, go to school, then get back, ease yourself on a Netflix series, about to go to bed, battle the addiction, fall, cry your eyes out because you promised never to do it and you have done it. Once you're done, ascribe depression to yourself. No, as mentally fortitude, I consider myself to be. If I experience the same reality, I would be depressed if I was you. You're not depressed, your situation is making you depressed, which is fine because depression is an indicator something needs to change. Very rarely do you feel hungry and you drink water. When you're hungry, it sends a direct signal to your brain that I need food in order to function. So perception is everything. How you perceive things determines the quality of your life. As Da Vinci famously puts it, nothing is good or bad except thinking makes it so. How you think determines the ultimate quality of your life. Say for instance, you had issues with dogs. If there was an opportunity associated with that animal, the chances of you able to spot, yet alone capitalize on that financial opportunity are in the single digits. You would spend extensive hours in prayer while the opportunity that liberates you financially is looming. Now, am I saying every single person should like dogs or go beyond your boundary? This is an extreme illustration to portray a point. You understand? But perception is everything. Perception accounts for a huge subset as touching your life and destiny. You might not be where you want to be, but you are not where you used to be. Keep going, keep striving. The law of importunity is a universal law. When you study the Bible, it says there was a widow who neither had God or man, or who a widow, someone who was discarded, someone who lost her husband, faced with a judge who neither feared God or man. And the widow, she had nothing, no relationship, no advantage in the physical, but she had her needs. And every single day she went, avenge me my adversary, avenge me my adversary. And upon the long enough time frame, the judge said, I would answer this woman her prayers unless she wearieth my soul. You can weary destiny until you become. My friend, you can literally weary destiny until he pronounces the same statement as that unjust judge. As always, my friends, It's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.